Okay, so do you see my screen?
Sorry?
Do you see my screen?
I can see your screen. I think there is some little disturbance.
1 minute. Yeah, it should be better now, na?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so before we step into this, I wanted to discuss with you about this thing, the deliverables for deploy phase, which was pending, right?
Mhm.
Okay, when we talk about deploy, we are only going to have 4 or 5 deliverables as part of deploy. Okay, number one is going to be your cutover plan approval. Okay, based on this, you would have already gone to them and told that we are going live by this date, and we are supposed to get all the master data by this date, open data by this date. This is going to be a freeze period. You should record the transactions during the freeze period in such a way, in a template, let's say in an Excel template. And after this, we will upload the delta data and we will give you the system live by this time. So you will have a plan and propose that, right? By deploy phase, you should be obtaining an approval from the customer side. Okay, this is number one. Number two is end user training. Okay, fewer times you may have to do materials specific to the end users if it is as part of the contract. Otherwise, you can just share them the user manuals that you prepared for the key users only. And then if required, they can internally prepare their own manuals and share it to the end users, whatever transactions are needed for them. This is number two. Number three is, then we will go about, same, when we talk about user training, we're also going to have participant lists from the user training, from end user training. Then master data approval for all the objects. Then open data approval. Then go live, go, no go decision. Okay. Assuming you got all the approvals, we are all set. We set up a steering committee meeting and ask them, okay, we are all good. You have the TR list ready. You have all the cutover activities ready. Then you have the data that is approved by the customer. End user training is also done. Now, in such cases, you set up a steering committee meeting and tell them that everything is done. We're all set. This is the timeline that we are looking at for the cutover, for the go live. Then we obtain a go no go decision from the steering committee members. And if it is a go, then you would have prepared something called as go live acceptance criteria document. Okay. There is no specific format for this. It's always best practice to prepare such a document. Okay. What this will have is, what are all the different criteria that has to be met by a particular module in such a way that that module lead or module business process owner will finally approve that my module has gone live.
Okay.
Okay. That can be availability of data, master data, availability of open data, be able to do some transactions in the production once it is live. All these are certain parameters that certain acceptance criteria that you can set for the module. Okay, once you have set and once you have gone live, they will test all these criteria that you have set in the production. And if all of that is satisfied, that module BPO will give the sign off.
Okay.
Specifically, I mean, same as such, we have to get it signed off from all the other modules. And then finally, if everyone is done, we submit all those modules to the project sponsor or whoever is the signing authority, and they will announce the go live. You get a phase closure, or let's say you do a QGate and a phase closure. Okay, this is basically what will be there as part of any deploy phase.
Okay.
So all these are going to be activities. What will be the document is maybe your cutover plan that contains all the list of master data, open data, what are the list of activities that you need to do as part of cutover, what are all the different manual settings that you need to do as part of the cutover. This is one will be a document. The next document will be a go live acceptance criteria. This document you can define for yourself. What are all the different criteria that you have set for? This is something that you discuss with them and then prepare it. Like pointers.
Okay.
Okay. So this will be the deliverables for deploy phase. So overall, when you take any implementation project, these four are the major contributors, major phases, and these are all the different set of deliverables that you will have. These are all basic. Basic meaning not necessary that all the projects needs to have these deliverables.
Mm-hmm.
It depends. However, I would say these are all the most important deliverables that you need to prepare when you have a project with sufficient time, and when you have a project and a customer who is supporting you to complete your documentation properly.
Okay.
Okay. Beyond this, you can prepare many documents, depends on your time. And if the schedule is very low, then you will have to cut down few documents from this and prepare it later during your support phase.
Okay. But we should have these documents.
Yeah. I mean, as standard, if you say what are all the documents I need to prepare,
Mhm.
so that as a best practice, I would say all these documents are what is needed.
All right. So during the interview, they may ask what are the deliverables
Yeah,
that we have.
yeah, yeah. You will be asked for sure about what is activate, what are the different steps in an activate, and what are the deliverables that you will have as part of each phase. Okay, what is SDD? Who prepares it? What are all the contents that will be there as part of an SDD? How do you approach fit to standard? These are all certain questions that you might be that might be asked to you.
Okay. Uh, do they also ask technical questions?
No, 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 not nothing on the technical front.
Mm-hmm.
But you will be asked how do you approach a project wherein you have a challenge as such. They're already running an SAP system. You want to implement a new module. What are the different factors that you will keep in mind? Such that existing functionality is not, impacted.
Yeah, it doesn't get disturbed. Yes.
Yeah. So you are supposed to prepare a plan, and all of this will come with experience only. So
Oh,
when you actually, so by this way, they'll be able to filter whether you are actually having an SAP project implementation experience or not.
okay.
Okay. Okay. So this is about it. And the deliverables anyway, I've almost prepared just 4 or 5, which I'm collecting. Once I collect, I'll prepare a folder and share it to you.
Yeah. Because no, internally I have shared my resume for one of the
Okay.
potential client. Mm,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when they are going to conduct the interview, and also I
Apart
am.
from no, you will also there are two things in which you will be examined when you take an interview for SAP Activate Project Manager. Probably the first half, or I would say 2 halves. One half is going to be very specific to project management and stuff.
Okay.
How do you handle team conflicts? What do you do when you have less resources but a critical project with a short span of time? All these scenario based questions will probably come up in your one half of the interview. Second half is basically technical. When I mean technical, it's all going to be in terms of SAP Activate.
Okay.
What do you do in each phase? uh, I'm giving you a project of this scope. How do you start, how do you finish, what will be the activities you will do, what are the different types of projects that you have handled, what are the different phases in a project, what deliverables have you built, who builds which deliverables, what do you do in a case, when customers, stakeholders are not inclined towards an ERP which you want to implement, or a scope that you want to implement. So these are all certain questions that might come to you technically.
Okay.
what is the cutover plan? What do you do as part of cutover? If the other counterpart is someone who knows SAP, these might be the questions. Otherwise, it can be very generic.
Okay.
Okay, so let's move on to Act 200 then. So last day, I think we left with the basics, and then now we will start up with the roles and responsibilities and project organization and preparing for an agile project. This, I think, you would already know who is a Scrum. Two types of team. One is what is going to be a core team, wherein you have Scrum Master, Project Manager, Product Owner, or a Process Owner, and a project team.
Mm.
These are the guys who will probably be part of the core project team. Otherwise, you will always have supporting roles. Testers who will test in multiple projects, architects who will come at the maybe explore phase and try to give you solutions and move away. Then later, if needed on demand, we can pull them into the call operations. Basically, your HR, travel team, blah blah, whoever takes care of their generic operations, supporting roles. But your core team is what is listed here as part of your Agile, right? Then you know about this, right? You have two counterparts. One is a project manager, other one is a Scrum Master. Who decides? I mean, who gives requirements? Maybe all the end users of the product and the key users of the product, or the product owner himself. Who decides the priority of what to do when? That's the product owner. How are we going to do? What's the effort that is needed? How can we plan the release? All this is done by the project team. This is overall roles of any agile project for that matter, irrespective of whether it is SAP or non-SAP. Okay, then so you're aware of the concept of product owner, no?
Yeah.
Product owner or process owner. So when we talk about SAP, we don't have product owner as such. We only have process owner, which is business BPO, business process owner. Okay, then you can read through all of this stuff. Product owner, what's their plan? What's their roles and activities that they do. Common causes. Okay, these are all. I'm not getting into details which are self-explanatory. Common causes, product ownership. If they're not empowered, if they're not available, if they're not qualified, these are all things. By default you would know, or by reading through this, you must be able to know. Okay, so Scrum team. I think we already discussed this topic. So a Scrum team is like some module wherein you have a solution architect, let's say, then a consultant and a technical consultant. All of these guys can be one case when you're involving in a large scale project with multi-country rollouts, a Scrum team. Then you have one more set wherein based on country, we all will group together, module guys, and then the basis team, project manager of that country, they'll all group together. That is also a Scrum team, and we conduct Scrum of Scrums to correlate with each other for the entire operations, for the entire project execution. So, do you remember this conversation that we had?
Yeah.
Okay. So, in case you don't recollect, just let me know so that I can again touch upon the points and probably explain you further. So, this is all fine. And this is where it says stable teams. In SAP, this is more important.
Stable team.
Yeah. So you cannot have someone who is going to take requirements, and if that person is not the person who does the configuration in the realize phase, you're going to fail. Okay. So what is more important is the person who gathers requirements at least should be doing the configuration on the first level, and then as he does the configuration, there can be one more shadow consultant who will do all the necessary testing and stuff, documentation. That is fine. The shadow consultant will probably train and he will do the UAT with the users. That is all fine. However, the first learning that I have had at least is the person who takes the requirement, has the discussion with the business during the explore phase, should be the one who will do the configuration. This alignment you need to take for sure before you start the project. If there is some guy, because of whatever reasons, if your company says, okay, I'll give you some guy, he's available until you explore, he will take all the requirements, he'll do the documentation, you can do the configuration with someone else. That will not work out. Or else, how you can tackle, if that is the actual scenario, how you can tackle is you will have someone in mind who will work for you for the configuration, right? That person should also be part of the explore during the workshops at least, so that he will get a hold of what is the requirements exactly and what discussions are being taken with the customer by the senior guy.
Okay.
So by this, you can at least arrest few gaps. Otherwise, what happens? At least I have had a scenario where there was one guy who took the requirements, did the documentation, then he left the company without giving proper KT, and there was one more guy who was trying to fill him, and that guy was like, he configured based on the document and based on the minimal KT that he got. And when we are going into the SWT, whatever the customer discussed during the explore phase was not exactly matching. Probably only 50-60% was matching. Rest 40 went out of control. So this person did not know again what was discussed by the previous person. So literally you had to redo the 40% of work again, get the requirements, and then do your configuration. That will again lead to a delay for you. So that's the recommendation. So you need to always have a stable team, at least until the first level of configuration and solution walkthrough is done. After that, it depends on your organization. If your organization allows, you have it. Otherwise, you can switch your team with the shadow consultant that you have.
Okay.
Okay, Scrum Master is very generic. You can probably read through that. Critical success factors. Then the task of a Scrum Master. Okay, what does a project manager do? What should he take care of? Risk issue, communication, allocation, phase
Okay.
initiation.
I have one question regarding the
Yeah.
Scrum Master. In real world, is the Scrum Master more centric towards resource management or
In
um,
real world, there will be no Scrum Master at all for SAP.
yeah, in
As
SAP, I haven't seen any Scrum Master yet.
no, you will not see. First of all, you will not see in SAP. SAP, there is no job for a Scrum Master. Scrum Master cannot do anything. It's very. I would say if you're part of an SDLC cycle software development, the Scrum Master will probably have 4 or 5 Scrum teams which you have to take care of. But when it comes to SAP, you will not. What's the responsibility of project manager then? It's his job to
Yeah.
integrate all the team members.
Yes.
Because one SAP project will have one SAP project manager. If it is very small, maybe the project manager will be involved in 2 projects maximum.
Hmm.
If it is a green field, for sure that project manager is going to take care of one project only. So if it is a larger scale, you will have a project coordinator with you. So how usually it works is you will have a senior project manager or maybe junior project manager along with you, or a project coordinator. You will lead the show, you will do the deliverables, you take the Scrum call, you will drive the Scrum call, and you will have your subordinate with you from the PMO team who will help you throughout the documentation, recording the CTAs, doing an MOM, all of this stuff, preparing PPTs. So that's how it generally is. There's no concept of Scrum Master, at least if it is companies where they are completely into SAP. There are chances where I don't think there also it will be there, like companies like Deloitte, Accenture. There might be chances, but at least I have not heard so far wherein in an SAP practice or SAP business function there is a term or a role for Scrum Master.
Yeah.
Okay, then this is your agile team. Scrum Master optimal size is 7+2. Again, this is not an exact case that you will have in SAP. This is specific to, let's say, any SDLC that will work. However, at a time, you might have almost like 15-20 member team when you are going for a greenfield implementation project. 15-20, maybe sometimes if it's a conglomerate, probably around 25-30 people also in a single SAP project. Okay, depends on the scale. So the more the number of modules, the more is going to be the team members. And similarly, the more the number of rise of objects that you have as part of the contract, the more is going to be the team members. Okay, then agile project organization. You know about these three: product ownership, strategic, tactical, and operational.
Maybe I forgot.
Okay, so you always have one product owner, which means in our SAP language, you always will have one business process owner for a particular module. Within hiring, within let's say HR head, HR business process owner will be one person. However, under that person, there can be multiple people, wherein one person will take care of performance, one person will take care of learning management, one more person will take care of employee life cycle, other person will take care of employee relationship. These might be different functions with different sub business process owners. However, for HR, there will be one business process owner. This is the rule that you have to follow. Okay, it's always recommended when you take care of, when you are taking conversations during your prepare phase itself for stakeholder matrix. They cannot say, they can say that under HR, under this person, you will have 4-5 person who will take care of the sub processes. That is fine. However, they cannot say all the 5 people are business process owners. When all these 5 people are going to approve only, this means that HR module is live. This cannot be the case. There has to be one business process owner, and you as a project manager should converse with that business process owner. Otherwise, there will be a lot of conflicts of interest coming up. Okay, this is one rule. The other thing is, you have three types of product ownership. One is on the tactical, strategic front, when one person comes in and he just gives he takes strategical decisions. That's all. He's not involved into too much of operations. So it goes from top to bottom. So someone from the project sponsor, let's say, he's going to take a strategic call stating, I want to implement a digitized software for this particular process. This is under strategy. Tactical meaning someone who is probably going to say, these are all the different processes. Under these processes, I want to integrate this specific process with this system. All these are tactical approaches. Someone will come and inform you. And then there's one more level of people wherein they'll say, as part of this process, A, B, C, D should be the process flow. I want to see this process in the system. So there are 3 levels. So this can be project sponsor, this can be project business process owner, and this can be sub business process owners or key users in an SAP project. You will have all 3 levels of people in your stakeholder matrix, and you will have to deal with all 3 of the levels. Okay, only if all 3 comes together, you will probably find you'll probably able to get all the requirements right, and you'll be able to translate that into the system and probably test that along with them better, so that your project can be successful in the later part during go live. Okay, so this is fine. Then Scrum of Scrums, like we discussed. So when you're having 4 or 5 Scrum teams, you conduct Scrum of Scrums, and you integrate all the Scrum teams together to arrive at the common objective of the project. Okay, this generally doesn't happen. but very rarely happens, particularly when it comes to a large scale implementations. But otherwise, for for one company code, two company code, we only have one Scrum call wherein we have all the entire team members together with us. What can happen is you can split functional and technical Scrum calls. That will happen. So when you're in realize phase, you can take a call with the functional team, asking them to give updates on the configurational activities and testing activities. On the other side, you can take a separate Scrum call with the technical team, asking them out of 100 objects, how many are completed, who is working on what is the estimated date, are we in line with the schedule. So these two can happen parallelly because these two are different work streams. So when it integrates together, when everything is done, configuration is done, testing is done, then you can club it together. And when it comes to solution walkthrough, issue handling, you can have a singular Scrum call for both the teams together.
Okay.
Okay, this is the governance model. So you have a project manager under them for small scale projects. You have one Scrum team, one product owner, then you have a solution architect under you who will help you in terms of solutioning the entire system. Okay, this is on one side. On the other side, you will this is in terms of large scale projects. You may have one project manager, 2-3 Scrum teams as part of individual modules. I mean, take the example of US, UK, Canada. This is US, this is UK, this is Canada. You have Scrum Masters, and we will have a Scrum of Scrum for all these three, such that we will all be integrated together when we are, strategizing or architecting the solution in the same system under the solution architect. Okay, these are all two different approaches. Then you have lessons learned. Do you have a practice of doing this? Lessons learned.
I don't know. Like,
Okay, lessons learned is basically you have sprint retrospective, no? It's the same. So sprint retrospective, you are going to discuss, analyze what can be done better, what what would have been done better, and what's the learnings. How do we implement, or how do we approach such that we can implement those learnings? That's the goal of sprint retrospective. So similarly, you also have, after each phase, you will set up a workshop and discuss and draft the lessons learned from all the modules and all the, let's say, consultants from your team. They'll give you the list, and whatever is the learning of the first phase, you'll incorporate that in the second phase. And by the end of the project, whatever is the learnings of the projects, you will submit it to the PMO, and PMO will have a central repository for a specific project. If these are all the certain challenges for an industry we encountered, the subsequent project, you will have a repository where if we are implementing for a similar type of industry and similar scope, you will know what are the different challenges even before you start the project. So you can just try to adopt those things as a measuring, as a precautionary measure. So this is something that usually people do as part of any SDLC also. Lessons learned. Okay, then when we talk about prepare for Agile project. Okay, so these are all 9 different things. So this is basically your prerequisites that you have as part of any implementation project. You see, agree and define product owners, Scrum Masters. This is basically your this thing, identify stakeholder.
yeah.
Right? Then staff stable and cross-functional agile teams. This is basically a resource allocation. Then invest in agile training and coaching. In our case, what are we doing? We are just explaining, or let's say training the entire team on activate, what activities we'll be doing. Educate project stakeholders. It should be done in both the ways. So this list is basically prepared for a agile project.
Mhm.
I'm just trying to correlate with each of these pointers with what we have in the SAP Activate. Okay, this is resource management. This is your SAP Activate training. Then this is customer team enablement. That activity, get system ready fast. This is basically getting your development system or demo system and setting up the best practices. Then lean documentation standards, agreeing on the deliverables, preparing the documentations for prepare phase. Then prepare vision and validation, prepare vision and for validation workshops. So this is basically your you set up the best practice. You prepare yourself, try to test the system and keep things ready so that you can showcase your things to the customer or the user during the explore phase, during fit to standard activity. Then prepare team room and facilities is basically you arranging your logistics.
Mm.
Okay, all these activities are covered as part of your prepare during. I mean, if you check it in your project plan and the activities we discussed. Okay, it's the same. Then this is what we already discussed: working software more important than documentation. However, as I told you, when it comes to documentation, agile practice or agile mindset said working software is more important than documentation, right? So with respect to SAP, I said does not mean we not do any documentation. Whatever that I told you as part of deliverables, if the
Mhm.
time permits you, you need to do that for sure. That will help you. Okay, so this is a learning assessment which you can take later. Let's get into backlog. So far it's all generic, topics. Do you have anything to discuss on that?
No, nothing.
Okay, so let's step into explore phase. Explore phase, you already know what happens, right?
Mm.
So it's just a repetition of what happens. They're just trying to correlate with, uh,
Agile.
the SAP Activate and Agile. So this is just the same. You have your input. What happens as part of output is your backlog that will come up.
Mm. So, do you use Agile in your project?
No, as I said, Agile we will use, but
Mm.
I would not say SAP Activate adopts Agile practices. But it's not like 100% we will follow the Agile practices.
Mhm.
Whatever concepts that we can take out of Agile, it is already followed in SAP Activate. What does Agile preach? Uh, you take too many interactions with your customer. You be agile. I mean, you be flexible in terms of adapting to a change. These are all
Mm.
certain things that Agile will preach. So the
Yeah.
same things are incorporated in SAP Activate also. So in the previous methodology, ASAP, there was no practice of showcasing the system. You just take conversations over a meeting without showcasing anything in the screen. You take an Excel sheet, try to type out the questions, and based on the questions you ask them, you get answers. You write it down in the Excel. That's all. What's happening before? Now it's not the case. You're trying to build a system, showcase the system, what is standard, and trying to get the feedback. This is show and tell. So basically, what Agile preaches. Then you are trying to do it incrementally. You are taking the concept of a backlog, which is Agile preaches. Then you
Mm.
are prioritizing is what Agile preaches. Then you are doing multiple rounds of workshops with them during the realize, which is what Agile preaches. Then you take incremental approaches of releasing your product, releasing your backlog. That's again Agile method. So it's not like a separate question. When someone says I'm following SAP Activate, they're by default following Agile. That's the baseline.
Yeah.
Okay, so okay, this is all the same. Whatever discussed already. So you can just get into these. It is just whatever is the input, what is the output. They're just trying to tell you what it's similar to what we discussed for each of the workshop. They're trying to explain this particular infographic. Workshop A, what do we do? What workshop B? So solution validation, delta design. What's the output of solution validation?
The was the output of solution validation.
Right.
Yeah,
We build a SDD.
yeah.
Right. Then we also will get backlog list, delta requirements basically.
Yeah.
And then we will take the delta requirements, we go to workshop B, we discuss how can we give solutions. Are we going for workarounds within the standard? Are we going to go for risers, developments? And we discuss the solution for that and we take it forward. So that's the overall thing that they're trying to see. You can go through these three things above, which is going to be explaining the inputs. ITD was inputs, tools and outputs, whatever is needed for the specific workshops. Okay, so workshop A, number one is you need to set boundaries. So if you remember 5 golden rules that we discussed, right? So it's always recommended to talk to them about those 5 golden rules during the SAP Activate workshop enablement training that you have during the prepare phase. Okay, you need to keep emphasizing with them about the 5 golden rules, which is basically them trying to adopt the modern solutions for extensibility and integration, and following the best practices, using the inbuilt solutions that we have. All of these things are something that you need to make them realize that it's always better to go with that approach instead of taking the conventional methods that is outdated. Okay, that's the thing that you need to keep emphasizing to the business team. So as part of each phase, what are all things that you need to keep in mind is what is being listed here for workshop A, for workshop B. So challenge to drive improvements, drive SAP standard, complement process models, deliver predefined content. So you can read through this. So what all of this will say is basically adopt the standard. It will probably repeat the same thing, the 5 golden principles which we discussed in the last class. Okay, you'll always have to adopt the standard that is given by SAP. So this is again what we saw, L1, L2, L3, L4 for the business process. Okay, and the inputs for release and sprint planning activity, what will be the input, what will be the output. So as part of PMP, I think you would have gone through things as this. For
Yeah.
a specific activity, what is the input, what is the output? So the
Yes.
same thing is being listed here. So if you check all these, you must be able to relate it right now. So what is the backlog, what is the process documentation, solution documentation, business requirements? All of this will be part of your release and sprint planning. This will be converted as user stories, let's say. And based on this, what is your output? You're going to plan the resources, you're going to plan a release. How many releases? R1, R2, R3, R4. What's the schedule? What's the sprint timing? Then what is the prioritized backlog that is signed off by the business? So all these are something that you must be able to relate to based on the conversations we have had over the last, let's say, 27, 28 sessions. Okay, these are all for solution manager, which we can ignore. Okay, second thing is product backlog. So this will explain the same exact template that I showed you. Okay, team, user story, ID. What is the user story short name? Do you see it properly or should I zoom in a little?
No, it's fine. I can see they are bold.
Yeah, so user story short name, story description, who is the owner, what is the status, what is the acceptance criteria, right? In our case, this is a generic backlog, but very specific to SAP. What we are going to have is something that we already showed. I think open that also for your. Where did I keep the price of inventory or something like this? Same backlog. Let's see. Something of this sort.
So this is something from your project, or this is something which you use for your training? You said no that Agile is not SAP Activate is itself Agile. So
No, I will prepare backlog, okay, but it will not be in this format. It will not. It is not probably going to say as a user story, short description. It does
yeah,
not work.
product owner, I see
Does
product.
not work. Does not work in SAP.
That's why
What we do is basically this one. You might have two different things. One
mm-hmm.
is RISEF, the other one is a backlog. The backlog will have both the things, which is configurational elements and RISEF.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What can be a backlog is me trying to create a employee sub area, create a employee area. These are all configurations that I have to do. So the list of configurations that I have to do, the list of developments I have to do, both together combines the backlog. So before go live, I will probably have to do all the configuration activities that I have listed down in the backlog. However, RISEFs, I need not do everything. Based on the prioritized RISEFs and the count that we agreed in the contract, I can deliver before go live. Rest I can deliver after go live. And this list keeps on adding as we move towards the project. So you might have 100 in the backlog during explore phase. As you go towards realize, you do a UAT solution walkthrough. This 100 might go up to 150, 120. And then you might fix few things. Then again, when you go to UAT, you're talking to too many key users, that might go up to 250. Then you might fix something in that. When you go to end user training, that 250 might go up to 300. So it's a continuous, process of adding to your backlog and
Mm-hmm.
prioritizing that and delivering that through multiple releases. Okay, you got the idea, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is about the backlog, but to be honest, there's no. I mean, I have not at least seen anyone who is using user story name, product owner, all of this stuff in an SAP project.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is a generic thing. You know, you have three different things: epic, larger user story, theme, and a user story. Future release and sprint. So when it comes to a sprint, we are only focusing on, let's say, 8 or 9 user stories, for example, and you might have 25, 30 user stories related to a module. And when you are going to complete all of this, 30 user stories, you're going to do the release. So 2 sprints, 15 in each, 2 sprints, 30 is done, you're going for a release. This is a theme. Epic is, I have in a similar way, multiple modules, multiple themes, and multiple user stories within those teams. So once after I complete, let's say 5 different themes, I'm going to release, and that falls under Epic. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So this can be a larger SAP product with 4 or 5 modules. This can be one module. This can be multiple requirements within the module. Okay. Then is a story, a big theme. You have heard of these terms, no?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
In the epic, we can also break down subtasks
Yeah.
under one umbrella.
So if you are developing a product, you will have one epic. And as you said, within the product, if you have multiple different functionalities, or let's say multiple sub modules,
Modules.
you will take subtask. Within subtask, you will have multiple theme. Within theme, you will have multiple user stories. Okay, so this is again the same thing. So how they are trying to correlate, you see, as I said, um, process structure. Assume this is the HR.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have multiple business scenarios within HR, PMS, LMS, ERM, ELM. This is the epic they are trying to say. And within the epic, you are going to have user stories which are aligned. You might have, you can club your team within this, whatever is needed. Okay, but more than this, you can probably try to remember what I told you. So, module, submodule, and task. What it correlates to is epic, theme, user story. Then you are aware of this release and waves, right? If you remember, you do one release, then you go back again, you do a different multiple release.
Yeah.
So for multi-country rollouts.
Yes, there are multiple projects. We do waves.
Yeah, so maybe whatever is mandatory modules you're going to release first. Then in the
Yeah.
second release you're going to do some additional modules. So for things as such, they're trying to correlate release and waves. Similar to release and waves, whatever is the waves that you're trying to see, you can also term that as an epic. So sprint as a user stories.
Mm.
But you can ignore this for now. Theoretically, might be you might be able to correlate, but in actual practical scenario, you will not be able to do that.
And I
Okay,
think in real world they are not using this much.
for sure, no. I mean, people don't have time to do the activity that is
Yeah.
needed for the project.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is about user story format. So you'll have to always have 3 different things. This is just generic thing that you, as a project manager, I want to change the dates of let's say planned start date and planned end date, so that I can keep the project on schedule. This is a user story. So how do you build a user story is something that is given here as a format, as a standard best practice across the world
Mm.
from the Scrum. Okay, these are all things that you can see later. See, they're just trying to. This probably you can learn and you can apply this in Jira if you're using. You cannot apply it in when you're tracking it manually. So if you're tracking an SAP project through Jira, this might be used, and that too only for support projects, not for the implementation projects.
Mhm.
Okay, these are all very generic stuff. Okay, you're aware of story mapping?
Story mapping. I've heard, but I forgot.
Okay, what? Okay, so here A1, B2, A1, B1, all these are features.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so assume I need to have a fully functional product. For that, I will tell you that I must be able to create a sale order. I must be able to approve it. This person should be able to view it in a report. These are all the three functionalities or three goals of my product. This is the end-to-end goal. Okay, for
Mm.
this to happen, I need to have some feature sets, right? You're aware of general, user stories, estimation process. What do we do? How do we map user stories against a process? I mean, you're aware of the entire cycle completely when we talk about agile, sprint planning and stuff.
Yeah, planning, sprint planning, and all. I know. It's just I think I know, but I'm not recollecting it now.
Okay, so it is just a way that you will have A, B, C, D. All these are different functionalities or features within the tool that you're expecting. So,
Because I'm not using it in my daily life, no, so it got skipped.
so these are all different features, and
Mm.
across each of the uh, product, what you are trying to achieve is something that you will map it. So for product uh, goal A, so for first thing, if I want to create a sale order, number one, I should have a user ID. I should be able to log in into the application. I should be able to view all the fields. These fields must be displayed. Uh, I must be able to enter the details and hit save. It will save in the database. These are all certain features. So against which goal are we mapping the functionalities that we need? So it's just a way of mapping the releasable products with the story points or user stories that you have. So this user story should be part of this product goal. So I can map it that way. Anyway, I don't think you'll be able to relate it better now. So you ignore these things for now. It's fine.
And if something is required to do, then we will have document and we'll have more knowledge on it. So at that time, it will be easy.
Even I haven't done all of this in
Practically
real world.
doing it, yeah, I feel sometimes like practically doing is more easy than explaining, learning, or explain.
See, these are all different processes, so you can probably go through these later. So they're just trying to tell you how things work when you're mapping things. So process flow diagram, process A, process B. You go through this example. This must be able to at least give you first level details. So they're just trying to explain a case. They've given you the concept here. They've taken four examples, and those four examples they're trying to map it in the user story mapping.
Mm.
Okay, so I told you, create a sale order, this thing. So you'll be able to map the entire process flow, what should happen where. So you
Mm.
go through this later. You must be able to understand when you go through all these 10 infographics. So you go through this later. Because when we get into details in each of this, it's probably going to take a lot of time for us to explain also, and this it's not something which is very relevant for us when you're going to do an SAP projects. Okay, all these are related to that. Do you remember work package, work item discussion that we had? What is a work package? What is a work item? So these are all things that is very specific to SAP Activate. Okay, work package is something like I do UAT might be a work package. Within UAT, preparation of scripts, sending a UAT plan, executing the UAT published test results. These four activities might be work items. Okay, black clock prioritization, MSCW. We spoke about this already, no? MSCW.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same. How do we prioritize? So this explains the ways of prioritizing. So I just told you MSCW. Okay, which requirement to put under M, which requirement to put under C, which requirement S, which requirement W is something that you need to
Understand.
gauge, right? On what factors you will gauge is something that is listed here. On the
Okay.
importance, let's say how many people are going to use it, what is the business value that this will bring. So as I told you, if some development is needed, wherein a person should be, uh, using that to send it to the customer. Okay, to take an exact example, when you are trying to print a sale order, it should give you a invoice sale order copy. This is directly shared to the customer. This case is a customization. The form should be developed specific to the customer, not as a standard. They are asking few changes. This change is very required because it is having customer touch points, and pretty much all the sales that you're doing will be able to, you'll be able to automate it through this. So it falls under M. The same thing when you are talking about whenever I put a sale order, the sales manager should get a notification that this person has did a sale for this value. This is not something that will impact the business. It's not going anywhere. It is just a notification. For now, the sales manager can view the report and see how many sales have we done. Right? There is a workaround there. So this can be put under W. This can be done later after go live. So you need to gauge what is the importance, what is the use case, what value does it bring to the business, all of this, and then take a decision whether it falls under MSCW brackets. Okay, so I think we are almost at 9:05. So let's wrap it up here. We are almost at 82, 60 odd pages left. So we'll try to wrap this up tomorrow, and then the last session we will take it for a discussion of templates. I will show you the list of templates, what is what. Then finally we'll have, that takes only 15 minutes. Then the next 45 minutes we will have for project financials.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, if you have anything in your mind, for questions, maybe you can list it down. We'll have it at the last session. We'll discuss in the last session.
Okay, so we will have one session, no? Like after a month.
Yeah. That we can plan.
Yes.
But anything, if you have something in mind, you can ask it now. Otherwise, you can
Yeah.
go through all the recordings later, and then we can connect for a session.
Yes.
Okay, in that case, let's catch up tomorrow.
Okay, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you.
Bye.